and 0 points if you're unsatisfactory. And then progressive is above average, obviously, and then exceptional in my mind is somebody that's going way above and beyond for that particular area. So hopefully, and again, we're still fine-tuning this before we utilize it.
It looks good though.
It really
I mean,
does.
I went down through it, it looks good.
This is
Well, we
such
tried to
a-
take
got a
out
lot
the things
here.
that were irrelevant last time, and we put in a few things. And then I put in on page 30, up top, I put intangibles in there. You can earn
I
up to
noticed
4
that, yeah.
additional points. There are people in the office that may be, coming in on Saturdays to meet board members, or come up with a wonderful idea that can streamline the business office, or something that is really adding a great deal of benefit to the SAU, and I think that they should be recognized for that. So that's just we may not give any points to anybody, and that's okay. Or there may be some people that are just doing some things that we haven't even thought of that should be recognized.
So do you,
Is it possible, and this is just a recommendation for, I'll throw it out there, to expand the rubric a little bit, and provide some definition around them, around the different levels. I mean, unsatisfactory is obvious, but once you get progressive and exceptional, let's say you were not the one doing the evaluation.
Yep.
Somebody could, down the board, give somebody exceptional by virtue of that they're exceptional, but if you put a rubric around it, then they have to meet certain things to be exceptional.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that. We actually had that discussion already, and it's not done yet.
Do you have information to do that, or do you need help with that?
If you've got anything that you can send me, that'd be great.
I'll give you what our reviews have, and I can pull a couple others.
Yeah, that'd be great to look at.
so do you do anything with total score?
Well, the total score, again, is going to be, and one of the things that I need to do are the levels. That's a good point, Brian. What's not in here right now are the levels. What is
What's a,
professionally competent,
well, I mean, if you
and
go-
so on.
The scores.
And then ultimately, people in the office are, as far as raises are gonna go, and we already had this conversation, are going to be judged against their peers.
So one,
But there should be a baseline that needs to be in
Well,
here too.
points wise, the highest you can get is 80,
right, but if
and
you-
that's with the 4 additional points.
professionally competent, I think it's 32. If you just run professionally competent all the way down, I think it's.
Right, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
32 is your basic expectation.
but the other way you could do it, depending on, is you could just do an average. So you can,
Right,
you could take
yeah.
whatever the numbers, you can average it, and you're gonna get
Yeah.
back
I'd
up
just
to
like to
what
see
the.
some defining,
Yeah.
what is a good total score?
Okay.
Bob, are you comfortable with the weighting of this with this many categories placed this way? If you're gonna score it, you've got a lot of dependability and efficiency versus only 3 in professional growth in terms of selections available. Are you comfortable with the weighting?
We need to look at that.
Okay.
This is refreshing. It's just refreshing.
I mean, the total number of points, you could argue between the total number of points and the average, because total number of points, that'll, well, I suppose you could do it either way. But is it okay to have, be exceptional in a number of categories and then unsatisfactory in a number of
That's
categories?
Right.
What is acceptable?
Right.
Is the criteria for what we can have a goal.
We will certainly clarify that. We knew it was a working in
So-
progress.
So what will be one evaluation a year per staff member?
Formally, yes. Last year I started doing an informal evaluation at mid-year, just so they would know, with the new guy, they would know my expectations, so at the end of the year, they don't get hit with an evaluation and not have any idea where it came from. So, and I plan on continuing that. And then I don't think it's fair to, even if you have discussions, get to the end of the year and do an evaluation that you may get slammed for. So I want to make sure that people have an opportunity along the way to.
So if you,
Correct those
but if you
things.
have an onset or a need, I'm assuming you sit with that person, say, hey, here's my expectations, this will be fixed in 30, 45 days or something like that, I would assume.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
At the end of that
I've already
time frame,
done
you can
that.
give another eval.
Right.
Okay.
When you have your conversations midterm, do you have that documented where the person signs it?
I don't think I did last year.
Okay.
I don't think I did last year. I mean, we can talk about doing a formal mid-year. That might be a possibility too. Last year, I just wanted to, with the new guy coming in, I wanted them clear on what my expectations were, because obviously they didn't know me from anything, so.
I just know with teacher evaluations, everything that you need to document has to be signed
Correct.
by, otherwise you can't really use it for termination or any other things.
So, and this, I may show some ignorance here. What's the tool that we use for principals? Would this be the tool for a principal as well?
It's slightly different from this. And what I started using, one of the things that I'm going to continue this year is, in addition to their evaluation tool that they have, I had them each sit down and develop 3 goals and some ways to measure those goals. And then I met with them at the end of the year, and the same thing, went over their goals. Did they accomplish their goal? And then I included that right in their formal evaluation.
Any other questions?
Big improvement
Thank you.
from last
Well, it's a work in progress.
It's a good work in progress.
And that's all I have.
Let's see. Management committee. This is a report, we met the other day, and unfortunately Sue wasn't here tonight. She was gonna do a little thing on our, what we talked about at the management committee. She did email out some, notes, so I'll use them. And just mention some of it, and then she can bring you up to date on anything that, she thinks I missed it the next time. One of the things we wanted to talk about, as most of you remember, we did a NESDEC report a year ago on the SAU and what we would need to do to improve that. That's another report that you should go out of your way to get, Norm, is the NESDEC report. So Dr. Bob brought what we passed out, what I just passed out. That was his notes as to where he's at on the NESDEC report. Do you want to go over that for us?
Yeah, actually, these aren't my notes. These are the choice points that were
Right.
on the NASDAQ report. It was a 15, 20 page document, but there was basically 5 choice points that they talked about in the report. The first one was about centralization of the SAU business office, and to date, that was through a lot of factors that happened last year. We kind of got fast-tracked on that. We had 2 new bookkeepers last year. We pulled them out of the houses and out of the schools and back into the SAU, so they're physically housed here. And then at the end of the year, they were taken out of your budget, and we added 1 bookkeeper here at the SAU. And presently, we are, thankfully, knock on wood, fully staffed in that area. So I would say in the last probably week to 2 weeks, everybody is really settling in well to their function. There was some growing pains there and a little bit of territorial struggles. But I will say in the last week to week and a half, people are really working well together, and it's coming together nicely. We're spending an awful lot of time now on ordering and having them work together on that. As we get to the end of the summer, the push is going to be on payroll, because obviously everybody's coming back to work. So then the bookkeeper's gonna work together on payroll as well as the finance manager. So that piece has been moving along really, really well.
You had mentioned, before you go on to the next one, that supplement to the ADS system software was budgeted and been ordered.
Yep, that was budgeted, and as of July 1st, it was ordered. It should be in shortly. And then after training with that, that's really going to streamline your ordering process and make it more consistent from the school building. The second choice point was on support and centralization of special education. We've made quite a few changes this year. Scott Rooney has been a presence in each of your buildings, has been actively involved with your special ed coordinators in each of your buildings, has really held people accountable, and you've seen the changes in your budgets and the number of out-of-district placements that we've actually been successful in pulling back and providing services for, so that's been a big plus. I think that he's also opened up a lot of doors with communication and special education with Co Brown. Been actively involved in going over there and being involved with their special ed staff and really kind of taking some ownership in that as an SAU that may not have occurred in the past. So that's been a positive as well.
One thing that was brought up at the board meeting, and I had brought it up, at the management meeting, and I brought it up at the meeting here, or at special education, and then I brought it to the management meeting, is that a really neat number out there is that in the 3 districts, we have reduced from 37 out of district to 17. So we've cut the out of district placements, Scott Rooney and crew have reduced the out of district placements in our 3 schools from 37 to 17, and that's pretty significant.
It is significant, but on this page that we were given, it says 17 from 32. Is it 37 or is it 32?
Well, it's 30-something. On my notes from Sue, she put 37 to 17. It might be 32.
Okay.
She might have had a typo.
Okay.
But it's in the 30s for sure, down to 17. And either number to 17 is pretty significant.
It is significant.
And that's one of the
It's
areas we all wanted him to look at. So I just want to bring that up.
Yeah, Scott and Eric McNeil have spent a lot of time and effort on that, making sure that an out-of-district placement is appropriate, and if we can provide the services, then we will be doing that.
And it's the best for the children
Absolutely.
too. It's the least restrictive environment,
Right.
which is what we want to do. So that's wonderful.
The third choice point centers around curriculum, assessment, instruction, professional development. A few things did occur this year. The Professional Development Management Plan has gone to the state for their approval. You just saw the evaluation committee tonight with their presentation. One of the areas that has been probably the most challenging for me to get into was your curriculum. Quite frankly, I just haven't had time to be in your buildings and running the curriculum meetings. I think we've made a lot of very good strides with the focus monitoring team over in Northwood, Stratford with the PLCs and the committee meetings over there. Nottingham has committed to a curriculum director in their building. You've got a lot of wonderful things in place. So our hope is, as we work through the next couple of years and minimize the big issues that are taking up our time, that we can increasingly spend more time on curriculum, instructional activities, professional development. Professional development has been probably better than the other two. The curriculum development really has been lagging just because of things taking up our time. But that choice point's been a challenge. I would say that is still a choice point and certainly not completely addressed.
There is a specific suggestion in the special education report, in the NESDEC report, that says that we should consider setting up a curriculum committee. That curriculum committee, as I recall, would include Dr. Godomsky, Scott Runing, and the principals from each of the school. Was that it, or was there one more person?
I thought a board member was on
Curriculum director.
Yes, that was one. And if that was to transpire, we felt that the curriculum director from Nottingham should also be included. It does not include, and frankly, I don't think it should, any board member or anything else. I mean, the committee, like this other committee, can bring the information back to us. I think it's a really good idea. I know that Dr. Godomsky thinks it's a good idea to have this committee meeting and looking at curriculum. I don't know if you want to make a decision tonight or you want to think about that and put it off, but that's one of the very specific thoughts that the NESDEC report had.
I will say that I don't even think that you need to make a decision on that. I think that the curriculum committee is just something that we need to put together.
Yeah.
And I think that with 3 new administrators coming online, it would be a benefit to them as well.
Yeah, creating a curriculum council composed of the 3 principals, director of special education, and the superintendent.
Yep.
I think is a really good idea that we should be implemented.
The 4th choice point was on centralization. We already talked about bookkeeping operations and supervision in the business office. The IT functions, I'm not sure that at this point that would make sense to centralize that. You've got IT directors in each of your buildings, and I think that you've got some good people working there. Special ed operations and supervision of staff, we certainly are centralizing more and more of that and enlisting the principals and training them so there's consistency there, and I think that that's important. Facilities management, I'm not sure that makes sense to centralize that. You've got different districts, different buildings, different budgets. You know, you've got a facilities custodial manager in each building. And as far as capital functions go, we're already exploring ordering through SES. We've had discussions with ordering technology when our technology people get together, and any kind of bulk ordering, we're exploring that. We're exploring it through food service with 2 of the districts. The oil bids we've sent out all at once to see what we can get. I mean, anytime we can do that, economy of scale, we're certainly going to attempt to take advantage of that. Then the last choice point on the last page was on the sheer number of meetings. I think I put in the tally, it was 128 night and or weekend meetings this year, which is a bit cumbersome. I know the boards have each discussed that and backed up your meeting start times, which is greatly appreciated. I think increasingly, quite frankly, I wasn't comfortable missing any meetings this year. I know I missed a couple, but for the most part, I thought it was very important for me to be at as many as I could get to simply learn about your districts and what's going on and keep abreast of everything. Increasingly, as the SAU is functioning more cohesively, I think that I'm feeling more comfortable when I have to miss a meeting and Scott Roning fills in, and Marjorie and I have had that discussion as well, that I want to get to the point where if she has to miss a meeting, the other night she missed one because she was ill, that Ed would be, the finance manager, would be able to very quickly sit down, look at the financials, have a discussion, and be ready to do a presentation there as well. So we're not quite there yet, but that's something that we're talking about, because the number of meetings between the board meetings, the budget meetings, the special meetings, it's a lot.
Well, we've offered to cut you in half, and Nottingham, you only attend the first meeting of the month, and
Yeah.
have Scott do the second meeting of the month. We're more than willing to do that at any time.
No, and I appreciate that, and I think the other boards have talked about that as well, and I think that like I said, I'm getting increasingly comfortable with that. The first year, I didn't think that was appropriate. But I don't ever want the boards to feel like there's a meeting that you need me at that, you know, I'm not there, so I wanna make sure that that doesn't occur either. And those are the choice points.
So I think that's pretty much what we discussed, is mostly the NESDEC report. We've agreed, the management committee, we're each gonna pick 3 out of the smaller ideas that are in there. There's a lot more ideas other than the choice points, and we're gonna discuss those. I would absolutely encourage the 3 different boards, if they wanna look at it and tell us what they would like us to discuss. We're just wanting to make sure that we didn't waste the money, that we spent it well, and are looking at it. One of these days, you know, we'll have everything done and it can go away, but